Okay, here's Alejo 81. He's playing with a time control of 10 minutes with a 3-second increment. So a bit of a compromise from my usual, but anyway, let's see how we do. He just goes for the London system. Somewhat disappointing if you're hoping for an interesting game. Anyway, I'm just going to play the system I recommended against the London system, and we'll see how it works out against a stronger player. Okay, he moved his knight here first. Don't know if that has any particular independent significance. The other knight is coming to f3, so yeah, and that bishop is coming to d3. And maybe he wanted to play knight b3 and put some pressure on the pawn. Don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get castled here and play with b6 and bishop b7. That's my recommended setup. Yeah, so now he plays knight f3. So he was just delaying that move to see if I would make some mistake, I guess. And that's a very typical response. Yeah, put the knight there. Now the question is he going to move the pawn forward? He's going to play knight to is he going to play pawn to f4 to support the knight? So my plan is to play queen c7, knight d7, and pawn to f6 to kick that knight away. Then maybe I'll trade off his bishop. This is why the London system turns into kind of a dull setup. Although I suppose as soon as I play knight d7, he's going to come out with queen to h5. So I've got to be sure I can withstand that. But yeah, I'll have to play f5 then to block the bishop so I don't get mated over here. Should be playable though. Then maybe trade off the knight. Yeah, so we did go there with knight 2. He did go with pawn to f4 supporting the knight. So in this setup, after queen a5 or h5 and pawn to f5, I can play my knight back to f6 and then to e4, and I'll have a good knight there. Maybe I'll do that first before trading off his knight. But well, once again, we'll get a very even position. Well, he's thinking about it. He's looking for something. More so than I am. I've been just playing all the standard moves so far. I guess I should slow down and start to think too. But really, it is pretty straightforward. Well, yeah, and this is forcing. I've got to do this. Now the knight to f6 comes with tempo. Knight f6 to e5. And take the knight and then reposition this bishop somewhere useful. So maybe he's got an idea here to trade the knight off. We'll see. that brings my rook into the game. So I don't think taking is good, but he did it. So I have rook h6 here. Maybe I can bring my queen over to the king side. Okay, so we didn't do that with tempo. So why don't I take this knight out now? It's going to be an annoying piece. And with the knight out of the way, then I can put my rook on the g file, which might be more interesting than putting it on the h file. So I have to take with the bishop. He takes with the pawn. I play my rook here. Let's see, is there any point in playing c4 first, kicking his bishop back? Don't see it. So let's go ahead and do this. I suppose he can argue he's got the good bishop here. Maybe it's true. And my knight is very far away from this good square, which yeah, probably can't get there really. Okay, so let's take here. I wonder if he's going to try and trap my my rook with knight to h. Knight to h4. Yeah, knight h4 hits my rook and doesn't have many squares to go to. It has one square to go to exactly. Oh no, it could come forward. It could come forward. Okay, so he undoubled his pawns. Let's see. Maybe trade off the bishop. The queen on c8 is so I can play bishop to a6 and force some exchange there. It's hard for him to avoid a trade. If he moves the bishop away, I'm going to skewer the queen and the rook on that diagonal. I'll try pushing some pawns forward. I could take. That would open up lines for my bishop anyway, so I don't mind. Don't mind if he wants to do that. Yeah, so he goes after my rook. So I went there. I guess I could have considered lifting it, but it might be a target on B. Okay, so I get to trade off the bishop. And he gets to lift his rook. Okay, so let's throw in this move first. Chase that knight back. Aha, does he really have a mate threat there? He wants to take back. Yeah, that was a mistake. I'll give him the take back there. I think that was just a simple mouse slip. His mouse was hovering over the F3 square, and he maybe clicked on the F3 square even, and the queen got moved there instead of the queen got moved there instead of the knight. So now he's hitting this guy. He says thanks. Yeah. So anyway, let's defend the pawn. You know, his bishop is still not going anywhere, I don't think. So I think I'm doing okay with this. So now let's kick that knight again. His knight is going to come forward. Okay, let's defend the pawn. Yeah, I was going to play the pawn forward, but then I realized he could put his knight on this square. Okay, let's trade now. And then let's see, let's get my knight into the game. Let's see, where is he going? Is he coming here? Don't think so. So where is my knight going? I could, he can't stop me from playing f5, I guess. Maybe he could. Maybe I should play f5 immediately and then knight to e7 to, and play f4 immediately and then knight e7 to f5. Looks like that would be a good square. But it gives him the square. Okay, I'll start by lifting my queen so I can bring my rook over to the f-file. Seems like the action is going to be on the king side now. He goes there anyway. I was thinking he couldn't do that. Okay. Yeah, he can't really do that. Pawn. He must have his settings. He must have his settings set to something strange. Okay, so I want to put the rook here first. So if he takes, I can take back with the rook. I'm going to double on the f-file and take. Can't go forward because, oh well, I could, but then I would never have this f5 square for use by my knight, so that would not be so pleasant for me. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So I can take, he takes, I take, he takes, I take, or we can go like this. And so anyway, this I think shows that it's a reasonable system to play. If I can hold off a stronger player to this point, he might still beat me in the endgame. I've left open something here. Yeah, I mean the queen can come into. The queen can come into a6 over there. Let's take with check. And his knight is hitting this pawn here. And if I defend that, then his knight is hopping into this square here. Is that so bad? Then you know, my king can defend. He can go here with check. He has to come here first. Where can my knight go? My knight can come here to here to here, and maybe go after these pawns here. Guess that's a long way around. Yeah, I don't know who's better in this endgame, but the thing is, his king is over here by the passed pawn, and white has a chance to create a passed pawn over here, perhaps on the queen side away from my king. So it might be a problem. So check, I go here, he comes here with check. Go to the middle, it's got check here and take that pawn. Well, I can't stop him from giving this check. So I want to push these pawns forward on the queen side. That's my idea. So he goes after this pawn immediately. Let's push forward. Okay, so now I've got a weak pawn over here, and maybe he can exploit it in some way. Probably he can, huh? Well, I can keep pushing forward, and then I can take the c pawn. Let's take here. Yeah, and now this is the problem. He's got that outside passed pawn, kind of limits what I can do, and he's got pressure on this guy. But on the other hand, he can't be too frisky because I have a passed pawn over here. So, what to do? Let's just stop this pawn with my knight. Then what? Is this a Zugzwang? Let's see, how close do I have to be to stop that? I have to get to this square. So I go here, he takes. I go to d8, he takes. I come to c8. Then he can go after this pawn. Not so easily. Okay, so I'm going to just go over here, and when I'm close enough, then I can take the d pawn when I get close enough to stop the a pawn. And when he moves the knight, I can take the d pawn. I can't take it right away. So he might just bring his king up. That's probably the thing for white to do here. So maybe he's counting king up, king over, king up. I attack this pawn. He comes back here and defends it. Ah, he doesn't do that. Okay, let's take this guy. Now he brings the king up. Okay, so how can he attack this pawn? I see. I stopped him from attacking that pawn by putting my knight over there. So let's take this guy. The problem is going to be that my pieces are a little out of play, my king in particular. Ah, yes, he's got that. So I have to go here or here. What's better? Here. Yep, okay, so let's get this pawn, and he can win my knight. So it will be 2 pawns against a knight. Drag his knight away a bit. He's ignoring it, huh? Oh, he's going to win this pawn over here, isn't he? Yeah. So this is going to be a problem. Yeah, because just 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can gain a tempo. Let's see, I probably, where'd I go? My previous move? Yeah, I went there. I probably should have gone this way, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and he just has 1, 2, 3, 4, so I can't stop him from queening. Okay, well, that was a good game. I will upload this and do a postmortem so we can see where I went wrong, but I still think it's a good example of how to defend against the London system. He just beat me with his superior endgame play. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.